Hey, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Accomplished. We haven't done one of these in a long time. Our guest today is guitar player, vocalist, songwriter Phil Palma. Welcome, Phil Palma.
Hey man, how you doing?
And we are in Phil's office, basically, or what was his office
Used to be, didn't
before
it? Yeah,
before he retired. We're in the Studio B control room at Capricorn Studios, where Phil was an engineer here. And I
yeah.
used to see Phil every
Every
day.
day, yeah.
And now I'd see him once every
Every
other
now and then.
week,
That's
every
right.
other week or so.
That's right.
And so we're gonna talk to Phil about his story. You're a New Jersey boy.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and then when I was an infant, we moved to New Jersey for my
Okay.
dad's job.
How did you get to Macon, Georgia?
All right, I'll jump forward to when I left New Jersey. I was 20 years old, went in the military, went through basic training, tech school, got stationed in Oklahoma at Altus Air Force Base. And when my first day there, one of the women was another girl there was a surgery tech, which is what I was. And in our talk, she found out I was a musician, and she was telling me that she, number one, she was from New York too, so I could hear the accent. It's like, "Hey, neighbor, are you kidding me? You live where I live, right?" And she was saying that her and her husband have a band. Long story short, I go see them play that night, and there's a guitar player playing with them. And boy, when it was solo time, my chin kept bouncing off the table. I just never really heard anybody play like this guy. The record licks he did really good, but it wasn't that. It was the improv. And I never really heard as a guitar player. I was like, what is he doing? And where's all that at? You know, we talked. They asked me to join the band that night because I sat in and did a couple of songs. And so him and I stayed together and we started writing songs at his house. And he figured out a way to record it on a cassette, run it back to this one, and add us to what we did, and then run it back the other one. We kept building tracks like that and
Sure.
writing all these songs. And we decided we wanted to stay together. And he said, "You want to go to New Jersey?" I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "Let's go to Georgia." He said, "All right." He
Well,
said, "All right."
you said that because he is from Georgia.
Right. Well, we were either going to come to Macon or go to Jersey. He was wanting to go to New Jersey to chase the music. And I was like, I don't think I want to do
And
that.
what is his name?
Terry Rich,
Terry Rich.
a ex band member of yours, isn't he?
Terry Rich was an ex band member of me, and we have a couple other folks in the room
Mm-hmm.
who were also in the same band. So, what was it about the music that Terry was playing for
Uh,
you in Oklahoma that made you want to come to Macon as opposed to going home to New Jersey?
well, he was big Allman Brothers talker, big Allman Brothers, and he was a Dicky Betts guy as
Okay.
opposed to a Dwayne guy. He loved the whole band, but he was, as a guitar player, he said to him, Dicky Betts spoke to him more than anything, you know. And so we're listening, and so I'm realizing all his soloing that I'm blown away by is a coming from his southern rock background and where he was steeped in all of that and listening to his whole life, you know.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, oh my gosh, man! So you're playing southern rock. And he's like, well, what did you do? Well, I was in a disco funk band before I went in the
Oh,
military. We had a horn section and all that
oh
stuff,
yeah.
and it was a great band. We did stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, I played funk and you play Southern rock. I was like, what would he sound like if we write a song or something? What would that sound like?
Yeah.
He goes, hang on a minute. He pulls this record out and he puts it on there and he moves the needle over and it's California Cool,
Bye.
which is completely funky and Southern rock all. I heard that, it almost made me cry. I was like, what is that? Who is that? Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard all them guitars on that. And then the next song played and women, beautiful women. I was like, I can't do that. I got to sell my stuff and quit. I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what it was.
It was Stillwater.
It was
The the
Stillwater.
the, the band
That's what clicked in my ear
Stillwater.
when I described to him. That's what
Uh,
Terry said. Oh, well, listen to this.
so the Stillwater guys, you're part of the reason
Love all them guys.
that Phil is here, and the Tracks guys, we're part of the reason
That's right.
why Phil is
That's right.
here. All right. So, what year was it you moved to Macon, Georgia?
I got out of the service in 1982 and got here in Macon in '82. And Terry and his wife already got here. So when we got here, me and my first wife, we just moved in with Terry.
Okay.
He already had a band going and everything, and I was just like, man, we're gonna be rock stars. Let's hit it,
Yeah.
you know. So that's kind of where it started.
What was the band name?
Free Exit.
Free Exit.
Free Exit was pretty much when I got here in '82, and we stayed together until I would say '87, maybe somewhere in there. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And that was a really good band. We had killer originals. We had energy when we played. We just didn't know what to do with that band, and we
Yeah.
just sort of spun in a circle. Played the same couple of venues, had a blast doing it, you know.
Sure.
doing a little too much of this, a little too much of that from here and there,
Yeah.
and having a blast doing it. And then that band finally fell apart. Our drummer Keith gets a call from Bob Spearman from Stillwater.
Keyboard player.
And he said, "Hey, me and Joe Dan Petty are kind of putting this band together, and we need a drummer." So Keith calls me like, "Oh my God, they want me to come play. I can't." I said, "Go play." So he goes to play with them, and like 2 days later, he calls me and he's like, "They want another guitar player who can play and sing." I told him, "You're wasting your time. You got to call Phil." So they want you to come out there. So that's kind of I went out there and rehearsed with them the first time, and we stayed together since then.
So is Bob Spearman, you, who else?
Joe Dan Petty.
Joe Dan Petty from Grinder Switch.
Right, and Keith Forehand.
And Keith Forehand.
Playing drums. Joe Dan said, "I have this vision of putting together a rock and roll band that does only music from 1955 to about 1965, all American rock and roll." So we started doing that, and it was working out well. And we were playing at the park and a lot of the local clubs and stuff. And then Joe Dan, we started really getting Mercer started hiring us for their 50s dance with the Drifters and all that.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, we played the street party, and Chuck sat in with us at one point along. That was our big, "Oh my God, look at this!" Chuck Lavelle sat there with us.
Well, you guys played at the Macon Auditorium. Tell us that.
The biggie.
Yes, the biggie.
My favorite one is actually 4. In the 90s, I want to say it might have been 91 going into 91. On New Year's Eve, the Allman Brothers booked the City Auditorium. They ended up for 4 nights. 4 nights in a row, and the 4th night was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And Joe Dan, he taught me how to help him make boots. So I was making boots with him one day, and he gets,
really?
Oh yeah. So we're in here making boots, and Joe Dan gets a phone call, and I'm over here doing my little making my little boots, and my little sewing machine, doing all that stuff, Yeah. And I can hear him with my ear. He's talking to somebody about some Allman Brothers stuff, and it ain't a buddy. I can tell it's business going on. And he gets off the phone, and he said, "Man, that was Bert Holman." He said, "Yeah." He said Dickie called him and said that these Macon shows, they're already getting bombarded with people begging to open. They're saying they'll do it for free, and they weren't no Bobo bands. These, heavy hitters.
Yeah.
And Dickie said, "No, we got to open an act. The Lifters are going to open." And he hired us for 4 nights. He paid us and everything.
Wow.
I mean, gave us that opportunity, which was incredible. So the 3rd night we're playing, and right toward the end, crowd makes some noise. I look over, Warren Haynes came out and sat in with us. I can't even remember which song it was that night. The next night was New Year's Eve, so we're out there playing. At one point, Warren walks out. The auditorium goes crazy, and I'm up there playing. I'm half nervous, but I'm just so enjoying it. Singing these songs that I love, all that 50s, 60s music.
Yeah.
And we're in the middle of playing. This is hilarious. We're in the middle of playing. I'll start that sentence in a second. I don't want to lose this good thing. What am I thinking? Knock on wood.
So Eddie Floyd.
Yeah. So we're playing this Eddie Floyd song, "Knock on Wood," and I'm about halfway through it, and I'm singing my little heart out, and all the crowd just goes berserkowitz right in front of me. Man, I was looking out there, big wide eye. And I was thinking to myself, I am singing the shit out of this. I turned back around. I was like, "Yeah." Oh, I looked over there, and Gregg had walked out and sat behind the P3, and that's why they lost their mind.
Yeah.
And so we finished that song, and I was just like, "Okay, ground yourself. This is huge for me."
Yeah.
And I'm still standing center stage, and Warren's over there, and Gregg's over there, and the crowd's going berserk. And I just kind of convinced myself I have confidence, and I have like quiet cockiness that I own, but I don't really let it out a lot. And I kind of tapped into some of that just to keep my cool, just to make sure if we finish that first song, first thing I hear is Gregg hollering, which I knew them, so I knew his voice, and I knew he was calling me. "Hey, Phil. I turned around, I was like, "Yeah, man." He goes, "Didn't you do Tell It Like It Is last night?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Let's do that. Me and you will swap vocals." And dang, if we didn't do it, he was singing the way he did it when he did it with Bonnie Raitt and Aaron Neville. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
It was right after that, soon after, about a year or so after that, I think, because that's why he called that song, because he knew it so well.
Yeah.
And then all the other songs, we were just singing our Lifter songs, and he was just diving vocal extras, just making stuff up and throwing it in there. We were just like,
whew. Now, was this before or after you had done your short stint as on the road crew of the Allman Brothers?
This was after that.
After that. All right. So tell us about the going on the road with the Allman Brothers.
Okay, that was once again making boots with Joe Dan over at the Peach Cobbler.
And Joe Dan was a member of the Allman Brothers road crew in the early days.
That's right. He's on the back of the Fillmore East album, and he grew up with Dicky Betts. They've been their friends since childhood.
Yeah.
There come a point where Red Dog, the drum tech, Red Dog was a Vietnam vet, and he had gotten some shrapnel stuff in his face and his body during the war.
Right.
And it always had him where he could not breathe. His sinuses, he couldn't hardly breathe at all on one side and like a smidge
Wow.
on the other. And he used to tease Butch and J-Mo. I've been y'all dang drummer roadie forever. At least y'all can do pay for my surgery, fix my nose, you know. And he would just throw that out there randomly, and they'd say, yeah, yeah, whatever. And one day he said his phone rang, and Butch said, find you a doctor. Me and J-Mo are going to pay for your nose to get fixed.
Oh.
He goes in, has the surgery. Now we're back making boots again. The phone rings. And it's Joe Dan talking Allman Brothers stuff, which happened a lot, you know. And I would always keep an ear over there, and I could hear Phil. Lips on sound. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So then, oh heck yeah, yeah, that's not a problem. No, he's better than that. No, and I'm going, okay, what the heck's going on? He gets off. Red Dog had his surgery. Well, when they rebuilt his sinuses and stuff, they clipped a rib to make his nose,
Oh.
and they sewed him back up, sent him home, and he kept saying, my side's killing me. Went back in, they had punctured one of his lungs.
Oh,
When they
wow.
clipped his rib and didn't know it, and sent him home with a punctured lung for several days. So he had to go back and have surgery. Here's the problem: the tour's going back out in 2 days. Bert's calling Joe Dan. Do you think Phil can do drums? Joe Dan said, hell yeah, he can do drums. He knows how to do all this stuff. He's cool. He goes, well, maybe we can get him to, you know, if he'll help us out with Dog, and you know, and we actually split the pay rather than me just take the whole pay for that.
Oh,
We
okay.
split it so he didn't go
Right.
without nothing. You know.
Yeah.
I went out there that first night, and I did real good setting up. I got done, and the big catch was Butch's drums. He said, Butch is finicky. J-Mo, no sweat. Throw the kid up there. He's good to go. You're going to have to watch Butch. He said, I have a million little Sharpie markers where them stand poles will come up right where they go. I put a Sharpie marker. He said, the problem is, now keep in mind, he's like this, and about every 2 minutes he's saying, I have to call you back. I can't breathe. And I got a notebook, and I'm trying to take notes, and I'm going, I haven't even seen these cases or what's in them. I don't even know what I'm going to look at.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, here it goes. And the first night was killer, man. I opened up the cases, everything's good. I'm setting that JMO skits up, got Butch's set up, and I'm looking for the best mark that I think is the most current one on all of his cymbal stuff. I get the kit set up, and I'm looking at it thinking, that looks pretty good. I just touched that mic.
Ah.
I got the kit set up, and I'm thinking, that looks pretty good. Let me go get Butch and see what he says. So I run up on the bus. I was like, Butch, come on out here and check these drums for me. He's like, all right. So we walk in the back stage right, back corner of the stage, and he looks across over the stage left where his kid is, and he's looking at it like this, and he's kind of going, yeah, he's saying, yeah, that looks pretty good from here. And I was like, hey man, you gonna play them from here? And he said no. And I said, well, let's go over there and have a look at them.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, all right. And he kind of laughed, walked over, and he sat on the kit. I walked around right in the front. I had my knees right at his bass drum, and I was just standing there looking at him right now, smiling. And he was just doing all this stuff. And then he looks, and I'm thinking, he ain't stopped yet. I'm doing good here. And he goes, drop that ride cymbal down one click. I was like, all right. And underneath him, under my breath, I'm going, shit, I wanted to nail it. You know, dropped it one click. He goes playing the more. God is my witness. He gets done. He's not bad, man. He gets up, he walks away, gets past JMO's kit, and goes, Phil. And I was like, yes, sir. He goes, put that effing cymbal back where you had it. And I was like, you got it. I turned back around. I was like, yeah. Because he was worried. He made some comments about a guitar player being his drum tech. He was worried. Oh, great. They'll be watching Dickie and Warren all night.
Yeah.
And Joe Dan kept saying, no, Phil won't do that.
All right. You also played at the wedding of Dicky Betts' daughter. Tell us about this situation.
We're having a lifters rehearsal. Joe Dan walks in the door, and he's all smiling, being silly Joe Dan when he had good news like he did. And he's flipping this piece of paper, and he walked in. We all kind of like, what the hell's going on? What are you doing?
Yeah.
He's like, Dickie called me. He said, you know, his daughter's getting married. And we were like, okay, we didn't know that, you know. Yeah, they're going to be married in so-and-so, and the wedding is going to be in so-and-so. He said, Dickie just hired us to come play the wedding. And then he said he's going to pay us this much money, and we were all like, "What? We didn't think he'd pay us that much." He paid for the rooms and everything. So we're getting closer to the conversation, and he's the whole time he's talking, he's just flipping this paper, just making sure you know he's got a paper in his hand, kind of thing, you know. And all of a sudden, I was like, "So what you got in your hand there, man?" He goes, "Oh, this is a list of songs Dicky Betts said if we work them up, he'll do the set with us at the wedding."
Oh, cool.
And there was like 8 songs, all Allman Brothers stuff.
Yeah.
Blown away. So we bring him a Les Paul and a little amp to play Jody Petty's Les Paul, actually.
Okay.
And so we get there, and we're making a little sound check and everything, and he's smiling, and he's in good spirits and everything, and he's digging, and we're jamming with him and stuff. And he turns around out of the blue and just whoops his head to me, and he goes, you know 7 terms? And I said, yeah. He goes, can you do Gregg's part? And I said, yeah. He goes, me and you going to do it together acoustically.
Cool. Acoustically.
And I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good. And sure enough, man, came time for that part, and Dickie did a little talk for his daughter and her husband, and I'm over here getting the guitar, like, shake my dang britches, you know. But as soon as we started playing it, man, it just started doing what music does, you know.
Very cool.
Yeah, extremely. I was blessed. I'm so blessed at all these Allman Brother things. This Jersey kid stood there so many times and said, "What am I doing here?"
Oh, I understand.
I know some people in Macon that would give an arm to be where I'm at.
Yes.
You know, sitting at Dickie's table and he brings a guitar. Try this thing out.
Yeah.
And I'm over here playing his guitar and I'm in my kind of like trying to be normal mode. And I got where I was with those guys after a minute. But boy, that first couple times I had to shake it, you know.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah, you can feel it.
All right, you've also got a story about the Allman Brothers and Tom Dowd. Of course, the Allman Brothers recorded here, and Tom Dowd did some producing here. So, what is that story?
Like most of them begin, Joe Dan calls me and says, "Hey man, I'm headed up to Nashville for a month," and he said the brothers are working on material for a new record, and they're going to rehearse for a few weeks and then take a little break, and then Tom Dowd is going to come in and work with them for a few days. And he said, "You want to go?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to go." And he said, "Don't worry about your cost or nothing." He said, "You just come on." And my wife at the time, who was awesome about all this stuff, she was like, "Heck yeah, man, go do that," you know. And so we go up there, and first off, the band has worked up all the songs, and they're just like, I'm just tripping watching them do this, and they're stopping and they're discussing little licks and cool things to do, you know.
Sure.
All of a sudden, they take their break, and then Tom Dowd comes into town, and they all show back up again. And after he's there about 2 days, I'm like staying like 5 feet from him, but out of his way. And I am just in my head because he's sitting on a stool and the band is set up like half a circle right in front of him. They're all facing him. I said, "All right, let's hear one." And they would play a song for him.
Yeah.
And he would, as an example, they'd hit a spot. And he'd say, "All right, you know that middle spot right there?" He said, "It sounds a little bit, you know, whatever that he was bringing up."
Yeah.
And they were listening to him, and he would say, "Alan," and he would suggest something for Alan to do, but he wouldn't tell him what to play. He would say, "Take that part you're doing and cut it in half with your right hand." When he did that, cut him in half, he said, "Now, drummers," he said, "listen to what he's doing and go with him." All of a sudden, man, that thing went from like double timing. It cut it in half, man. And the band was even like acting like they were swatting mosquitoes because it was getting so swampy sounding. It was incredible. And when they finished it, the band was giving Tom all the praise, all on top of one another. They were all. And when they got done, Tom said, "Simple is always better."
Before you worked here at Capricorn, you were working radio. How did you get into radio?
I actually got in between bands. Music wasn't happening. I was going to move to Florida to where my brother was.
Yeah.
And Randy Arthur came up to me, a bass player friend of mine. He said, "Man, you want to work in TV? I'll give you a job today." So I went over. He was a production manager at WPGA, Lowell Register's old station, Channel 58. So he gave me a job there, and I started doing TV there. And they had the radio station underneath it, so I would do double duty sometimes. And then they did a live morning show, mix in the morning, and I got where I was producing that. I learned how to produce all that stuff, and then the old guy, some things went down, not so much in his favor, and he lost the TV station and the radio, which is when Wes Griffith shows up.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I want the radio, but I don't care nothing about that TV over there." And in the beginning, they were like, "It's a package deal." And Wes finally ended up walking away with the radio station only. And then me and Rob became close over there. And that's why when this came up here, with Mercer taking the studio here, and Rob came over, I was steady picking Rob's ear. "You got to take me with you. Come on, man. You got to take me with you. Let me go with you. I got to do some of that over there."
That's Rob Evans, the chief engineer here at Capricorn. And this is the board you worked on?
It is, yeah, exactly.
The room you worked in, this is the control room for Studio B. And now you're retired, but you're playing in a band. Tell us about Lizella Reign.
Lizella Reign is a great group of guys. We got together.
And they're all comp members, by the way.
That's right. And we got together out at Tim Penson's house, which we call the Pensonian Institute of Music.
In Lizella, Georgia.
Yeah. And we kind of put the band together out there and coming up with band name ideas. And I started throwing Lizella in there, you know, and as it was going to be Lizella, R-A-I-N. And then Ken Wynn was like being all mystical, "Unless we do R-A-I-G-N." Yeah, we were all like, "That's it." You know? So that's kind of how that came about. And we've been together close to 3 years now, you know, and we're playing mostly locally. We don't do any original music.
Well, I want to thank Phil Palma for sitting in with us today here in his old place of work at Capricorn Studios.
That's right.
And
I appreciate you, man. It's been my honor to do this. I'm humbled. I appreciate it.